Well, got another article. Again, the retail stuff. Oh my goodness. Retail is just horrible. And I know I've said before about, well, with Amazon's coming online and, I tell you all the time, I'm shipping crap to my house. My wife, some people might say, bless her heart, man, can she buy some things on Amazon? Whoa. But at the same time, you can say, but some of that stuff you'd be going to the store for anyways. Correct. And, whatever. If you want to buy some stuff on Amazon, go ahead. And, but Amazon isn't the end all be all of the destroyer of all retail. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's not that you couldn't accurately say that. Amazon is the end all be all of everything retail. Not one company. It can't. So you have to look at other things that are failing that shouldn't be failing because of Amazon and say what the hell's going on. But anyways, Wolf Richter at wolfstreet.com has an article. The bloodletting among retailers simply doesn't let up. It's not letting up. It's getting worse. They're getting clobbered like a baby seal. They're getting clobbered. A very busy day in brick and mortar fiasco land, he says. Neiman Marcus, the Texas-based luxury retailer with 42 stores around the country and 2 Bergdorf Goodman stores in Manhattan, is in no immediate risk of bankruptcy, the sources told Reuters on Friday. Though it has hired investment bank Lazard Ltd. To help restructuring its nearly $5 billion in debt. No immediate risk of bankruptcy, but we hired this to help restructure some debt. And what does restructure usually mean? Chapter 11, not 7. 7 is go bye-bye. 11 is piss off debtors. We got court approved, signed, letter of approval that you're all getting screwed. We're not paying you this debt. Now, some of that might be, okay, well, that's going to get cut. You'll pay that back. They're going to cut that in half, whatever. Or we'll just wipe it off. You don't pay anything. Chapter 11. When this news emerged, Neiman Marcus unsecured bonds due in 2021 plunged 7% to 54 cents on the dollar, according to Thomson Reuters, and its $3 billion term loan fell 5% to 77 cents on the dollar. Earlier this year, Neiman Marcus scrapped its IPO entirely after having delayed it in 2015 when its difficulties could no longer be swept under the rug. In December of that year, it reported its first quarterly sales decline since 2009. Really? Hold on, how could that be? Reported its first quarterly sales decline since 2009. Well, 2009, yeah, 2008 and 9, I could see that. But 2015? Man, 2015, we're way past recovery mode. We're way past that. Neiman Marcus, what are you talking about? You couldn't have had that. Must have been a one-off thing, right? Oh, wait a minute. He's hiring Lazard Ltd. to help restructuring its nearly $5 billion in debt. Yeah, Doom back on. Sorry about that. Yeah, Doom back on. You ever see the show Chef Ramsay? Hell's Kitchen? Come step forward. Back in line. Doom, back on. That's how you do it. At the time, CEO Karen Katz blamed the oil and gas bust in which wealthy shoppers in Texas were tangled up in. She also blamed the strong dollar that prevented foreign tourists from splurging at its stores in the gateway cities Honolulu, San Francisco, Las Vegas, New York, Washington, and Miami. Now, let me stop here. Karen Katz. I'm trying to think of a word to call her right now. I'll just leave it blank. Fill in the blank, people. You have stores in Honolulu, San Fran, Las Vegas, New York, Washington, and Miami? And you're telling me the red ink on your accounting books is because tourists who have the money to come in here in the first place, they're just not going to the upper class stores and buying our stuff. Oh, but they're still coming in as tourists, but that they don't want to spend the money. Like, okay, right. In other words, I need a freaking excuse, and this is all I got. Thanks, Karen. As so many times in the brick and mortar retail fiasco, there's a private equity firm behind it. In 2005, Neiman Marcus was subject of a leveraged buyout. It's now owned by Ares Capital and the Canadian pension. Oh, hold on. I got to clear my throat. Hold on. Whoa. This is about to get serious. Hold on. Okay. All right. I just have to clear my throat. Had to drink some water on this one. I could have swore, how you read, you can kind of peripheral vision see the next words coming, obviously. I could have swore I just saw something about a pension fund. Oh. As so many times in the brick and mortar retail fiasco, there's a private equity firm behind it. In 2005, Neiman Marcus was subject of a leveraged buyout. It's now owned by Ares Capital and the Canadian Pension Plan Investment Board. Oh, it's going to be bad. Their hopes of an elegant exit via an IPO have been scrapped. So let's go public, IPO, big money, cake it in and help pay off this debt. And it got scrapped. Yeah, not going to work. Interesting. But, as the beginning of the article said, there's no immediate risk of bankruptcy. Immediate, like, when the Webbot says the immediacy data, days out to maybe 2-3 weeks out. That kind of immediate, like, there's no risk of bankruptcy in the next week or days, but in a month from now, absolutely. Like, what, you got to hear their, as Lindsay says, their buzzwords. But the Neiman Marcus restructuring news wasn't enough for just a regular brick and mortar on Friday. Quote, people with knowledge of the matter. And who are these people with knowledge? Did you love these freaking things? Sources said, oh, from where? Outer space or your conscience? I mean, what sources? People with knowledge of the matter told Bloomberg on Friday that appliances and electronics retailer, there's another one, H.H. Gregg, which had announced on Thursday that it would close 88 of its 220 stores, shutter 3 distribution centers, and shed 1,500 jobs, is also preparing to file for, or not also, but is preparing to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Oh, you mean like so many other retailers have done? It too needs to restructure its debt. Inventory will be sold off over the next few weeks, and the stores will be shuttered by mid-April. Remember how old J-Snip4, your best friend, said that as this crap goes downhill, there are going to be some deals of a lifetime? And I know I'm referring to other people who didn't see this coming, spent more than they should have too much debt, car payment, boat payment, jet ski payment, and they're going to have to start liquidating. And I said, you're going to find, four-wheelers, all kinds of goodies for great deals when this all goes down. And only the people that have cash, not credit, are going to be able to grab this stuff. Well, you can kind of put these retail outlets in the same boat. Speaking of boats, no pun intended. They're going to do what other ones that have closed down. When formerly CompUSA turned into Tiger Direct, and then Tiger Direct pretty much closed down. Now they only have a business thing online, which has merged with PC Warehouse or whatever. I remember going to the one near me. I went a little late, but I wasn't shopping for anything, by the way. I just went in there. And the shelves were cleaned off, but everything 10% off, 15%. Every few days, if it didn't sell, they would drop the price through greater percentage off. So if anybody is looking for some sweet electronics, maybe you need a new flat screen. I'm sure that's really needed these days. Big giant flat screen, or maybe they have iPhones there, $800-900 iPhone for you. Those will be cleaned out before the prices go way down, so don't count on those. But if one of these 88 stores is in your area, and I have one near me, I have to go check out. Is this one of the 88? Is this one of the 88? Because I'm going to go over there. If I need something, I'll have to really think. We're going to be making a purchase, electronics, anything recently? Maybe I'll just go, browse around, see what kind of deals I can find. So, like I said about the people being able to buy sweetheart deals off of people, you too will be able to buy some sweet stuff from the retail apocalypse, if you will. In January, H.H. Gregg had hired 2 restructuring advisory firms, Stifel, Nicholas, and Miller Buckfire. Hiring restructuring advisors is, of course, a sign that bankruptcy is one of the options being contemplated, regardless of how energetically Neiman Marcus might be denying it. In theory, this would be enough for a productive week in the collapse of brick and mortar retail, but no. BCBG, the California-based fashion retailer, let me just say one thing. California in fashion, isn't that the heart of fashion in the country? Some people might even argue in the world, possibly. In other words, I don't want to hear anything about fashion in California going down the tubes. That's like, no. BCBG, the California-based fashion retailer that had acquired fashion design firm Hervey Ledger in 1998, and that once had more than 570 boutiques globally, including 175 in the U.S., and whose cocktail dresses and handbags were shown off by celebrities, filed for bankruptcy on Wednesday. Oh, see that? I'm going to tell you a little funny story, a little personal story from when I was a mechanic. I was about somewhere between the age of 18 and 20 years old, probably, when this happened, working at this repair shop. Thought I wanted to be a mechanic. On-the-job training kind of a thing. Cool. I learned a lot, know a lot about cars, etc. Great, but not what I wanted to do. Went into information technology later. But the shop I worked at was right where the ghetto pretty much started. I don't know why or whatever, but that's where the shop was located. So my boss did have his clients from his church who constantly took advantage of him. Another story. But aside from that, you'd get drive-in, or what we call walk-in traffic, drive-in traffic. Hey, can you a quote? Need this fixed, whatever. And it's naturally people from the ghetto. And there was a car that came in, and the lady ended up being a repeat customer a few times, And she had her car. And you know how people like to put stupid little sayings in their car, their license plate, or they'll buy like a front license plate that's not real, Like in Florida, you only have to have a rear license plate. But you can put a little thing that says, go Trump or whatever in the front. Well, they had one of those. And the words on there, just the way it looked, I don't know if it was the font, but it said boutique. And I looked at it and I'm like, it's all about that IQ, bout IQ. Like it's about the IQ. Like I'm an up and coming ghetto star, bout IQ. And I said that to my buddy who was working there. He was the brother of the guy that owned the place. He goes, you idiot. It says boutique. I looked at it again. Oh my God. I'm telling you, I was somewhere between 18 and 20 years old. I'm now 39. And every time I see that word, instant, you idiot, bout IQ, you moron. I can't help it. And it's in this thing, so I'm looking at it, and the thoughts coming to my head as I read this, I got to stop for a second. I just got to tell the people this. But anyways, back on track. They just filed for bankruptcy on Wednesday. It is buckling under $459 million of debt. It has 4,800 employees. Layoffs have already started. More layoffs and other cost cuts are planned, according to court documents cited by Bloomberg. It started closing 120 of its stores in January. It wants to sell itself at a court-supervised auction. Sell itself? Interesting. If that fails, it wants to negotiate a debt-for-equity swap with junior lenders owed $289 million. Well, listen, boutique outlet, listen, you're not one of the bankers. There will be no bailout for you. You'll have to file for bankruptcy, and all the people owed the $289 million, you'll take the haircut, or $459 million total. You will take the haircut. Why? Because it's not a bank, and the club members aren't holding all the debt and demand that the taxpayers pay them back. 100% on cents on the dollar. This is the company's third effort. Wow. At restructuring. Guggenheim Partners arranged a $200 million loan loan for BCBG in 2006. In 2015, their Guggenheim affiliates took equity in exchange for reducing debt. In August 2016, founder Max Azria surrendered his majority equity stake as part of a second debt restructuring and departed, according to the court papers. I wonder if that guy left with a golden parachute like the bankers do. You know, step in, I'm leaving with $100 million. Thanks. You destroyed it. My job here is done. Give me my $100 million on my way out. Oh, here you go. Bonus for the good work you've done. And this is how bad it gets. On Friday, still, Reuters, citing, again, people familiar with the matter, reported that the acquisition of Macy's. Ooh. What? Macy's? By Canadian department store chain Hudson's Bay Company, which owns the Lord & Taylor and Saks Fifth Avenue chains, is going nowhere because financing cannot be lined up to back a credible offer. Well, listen, what was that company? Canadian Hudson's Bay Company. Thank your lucky stars. Because Macy's too will go down the tubes. It's going to happen. The retail apocalypse is just getting started. Hudson's Bay, burdened with about $4.5 billion in debt, has a market value of $1.6 billion. It wants to swallow Macy's, which has a market capitalization of $10 billion. Both of them have been suffering from disappointing sales. Well, that's funny. Why are you wanting to buy a turd? Don't you know the old saying, you can't polish a turd? Well, you can't stop people from flooding into something like the market with both hands while it's at absurd levels, absurd bubble territory. Nothing makes sense. It's time to go in, which is my next video. Got to talk about a couple things on that. Investors, when seeing an opportunity to back buyouts related to malls, are getting cold feet, even when it involves still profitable retailers such as Macy's. Didn't the webbot tell you way in advance the mall apocalypse was going to be coming? This displeasure has infected retail sector junk bonds and leveraged loans, even though overall junk bonds and leveraged loans have been in nirvana with prices at near peak credit bubble levels, of course. The shares of loans issued by retailers, not including food or drug retailers, that are trading below 80 cents on the dollar, the benchmark for distress, has jumped from 10.5% in January to 16.5% in February. So it's more than a 50% increase. Isn't that amazing? According to LCD/S&P Global Market Intelligence, that's the highest percentage since August 2009. Oh, these are numbers we're seeing from back when the collapse was happening in 2008. The first one. And again, we've got massively more debt. Massive more problems. So the next one can't possibly be easier to deal with than the last one. It has to be quite worse. The share of retail sector loans trading below 70 cents on the dollar, an indicator of potential default, has reached the financial crisis level of 9.3%, up from about 0% before June of 2015. So we're back to crisis level, 9.3%, back when the first collapse happened in 2008-09. And it was just 0% June 2015. Now it's 9.3. Again, matching level from 2008-09. The painstaking and relentless collapse of brick and mortar retail, one retailer at a time. Read the following article. So what are we going to do with retail malls? Also by Wolf Richter. Again, I'm going to link this article in case you want to read some more about it. But I think I've spewed enough doom at this point. Retail apocalypse. It's starting. This is all in the Webbot reports. Years ago when things were like rosy. Everything's fine, man. Recovery, everything's good. And it said to look out for all of this. And here it is. And it's starting. Take care.